Well, you guys surprised me. Hey, everybody, it's good to see you guys. I'm excited because we're ready today to get ourselves started. So we set up that account, and that's huge because now we can actually start programming. So this is pretty exciting stuff. So if we go to classwork, we're talking right now about that Scratch launch. Create an account in Basic Sprite Movement. So we created the account, and now we're going to start that process of that basic Sprite movement. So pretty exciting stuff. If you need it, there's a link in this assignment to Scratch. You just finished setting up your account though, so you should be in somewhere like this. If you're not, if you just went back into Scratch and you're like, oh no, I need to log in again, let me sign out and show you that process. So if you're in the place I was just in, stay there. If you're not, you click sign in and then put your username in there. For me, that was oopsies, three, that's a 3. EME, uh, HSVMS, and then that password, if you remember, was a bunch of nonsense, right? So some threes and some letters, and then some other numbers, and then some more letters, and then maybe another number. I don't remember exactly, but there we go. So it wants to know if you want to save your password. Maybe that asks you the same question. Ultimately, what did I do? I got back in. So sign in. If you need that sign in information, make sure you talk to Mr. Kizuka or Mr. Emerson because we will be able to help you with that. Once, as long as you follow the steps in that last video, you'll be in good shape to get that sign in back. Once you're here, what we want to do is we actually want to create a program. So we're going to go to the create block and just click on that create button. That's going to bring us into a new Scratch programming window. So this is where the magic happens, so to speak. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to program this sprite, right? So if you look in this sprite menu, you can see this is sprite 1. This cat is the default sprite in Scratch games. And we're going to leave this guy here because he is what we're going to program for the beginning, okay? And what we want to do with this cat is we want to make it so that the cat is under our control so that we can use the arrow keys to control the sprite's motion. So we want to be able to move that cat around using the arrow keys, okay? That's the challenge, but it's not too difficult. So how are we going to do that? Well, the first thing we need to know is that we've got a lot of different kinds of uh, programming blocks in Scratch. So these are all motion blocks. So we're definitely going to need some motion blocks, right? We also have looks, we have sound, we have events, which will be pretty important. We have control, and these are big time important programming blocks in control. We also have sensing, operators, variables, and my blocks. So you can make your own blocks that do specific things. We'll talk about some of these kinds of blocks right now. The first of those that we need is an event. So we're going to go to events and we're going to drag out a when flag clicked. Now that when flag clicked is kind of the start of the program. So you see there's a flag, and in Scratch that flag is kind of a start. We're going to make a program at some point that'll have its own start button. But for now, that flag is going to be what we use as a start. So when the flag is clicked, then we'll do something, right? All right. So what is it that we want to do? Well, what we want is to make the buttons operate our motion. Now, you can see right here, there's an event that says when space key is pressed. But I'm going to tell you now, there's a lot of different ways. One of the things that Mr. Kizuka and I both love about programming is you've got a lot of different options. You can do a lot of things a lot of different ways. But some of those different ways don't work quite as nicely as others. So instead of using a when space key pressed button or a when arrow key pressed button, we're going to skip that event and we're going to do this programming a little bit different way. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to go to control. And what we want is we want a forever loop. Now, a forever loop looks like this. This is a block that is a forever loop, and we're going to attach that on our when flag clicked. And a forever loop means forever, the program is going to keep running through this cycle of programming that we put inside the forever loop. Okay, so what is it that we want to do forever? Well, we want forever to, if this button is pushed, we do this, right? And that's called an if-then statement. If this happens, then we do this. If-then statements are really pretty big statements, pretty big coding blocks in any programming language. So in Scratch, we find our if-then statement right here. You see if, and it's got that funny little shape, and then it says then. So if what's in the funny little shape, then we do something, okay? So what is it that we want in the funny little shape? Well, we want it, if we push a button, we want something to happen. So let's go to sensing. That's where we can get something. And you can see right here, this funny little shape says key space press. So we're going to drag that in. So if a key is pressed, now right now it's set up for the space key, but we don't want that. So we're going to click on that, and you can see right here is the up arrow, the down arrow, the right arrow, and the left arrow. We'll start with the right arrow. If the right arrow, if the key right arrow is pressed, then we want to do what? Well, we want our cat to move to the right. So if we go to motion, that's where we're going to find moving, right? Now, in Scratch, in this setup, in the coordinate plane, we could say, right and left is on what's called the x-axis, right? That horizontal axis is known as the x-axis, okay? So when we press the right key, we want to change our x value. And x value to the right are positive numbers. So we want to change x by positive 10. So right now, we've got this set up so that our right arrow should work. So if we click the flag and we press the right arrow, look at our cat, he's moving to the right. So that's a good sign, right? We've done something right. Move that cat back just for now, and we'll see what's next. But we can't move our cat any other direction, right? So if I'm pressing the left or the up or the down arrow, nothing's happening. We need that code in there also. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shortcut this. I'm going to click on this if part. I'm going to right click on it and duplicate it. And you can see I just copied that if then statement, right? So I'm going to click that in there. I'm going to change from right arrow to left arrow. Now again, on the coordinate plane where to the right is positive x, to the left then is negative x. So if we're going to change x by 10 to move left, what we actually want to do is change change x by negative 10. So now we're moving instead of to the right to the left. So if we click our flag and we test this out, if we move to the right, we go to the right. Right arrow, left arrow now moves us to the left, right? So now we've got two buttons that are working, but we still can't move up or down. Okay, so what are we going to do there? Well, I'm going to right click and duplicate, and now you can see I got both of those if then statements. So now I'm going to change right arrow to up arrow, and I'm going to change left arrow to down arrow. But I got to get rid of these x's because up and down on the coordinate plane is not x. Up and down on the coordinate plane is y. So I'm going to bring in change y by 10, and I'm going to put that in both of those if then statements. Now up on the coordinate plane is positive 10, and down on the coordinate plane is negative 10. So I can leave this up arrow to 10, but I got to change the down arrow to negative 10. And now I've got pretty solid code. Now listen, it doesn't seem like we've done a lot, but right now we have code that will make it so that we can move our cat character all over this screen. So if we click the flag, I can press right, left, up, and down, and I can press combinations of those to move in diagonal lines, right? So I'm in very good shape here. I've got a cat that moves very nicely, pretty smoothly, and all around this screen, right? I can dodge thing. Well, there's nothing to dodge, but I can move my cat in every direction. So right now, we're in a good place to do this. So what I want to do with my code is I want to make sure that I save it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File, and I'm going to click that Save Now button. Now, it's going to save, but right now it doesn't have a name. So let's give it a name, and we're going to call this, we're going to start the name with my username, which is right there in the right-hand corner of my screen. So I'm going to do, it's going to be 3, that's 3, EMEHSVMS, and then I'm going to name it Tag Game. Now, we want you to name yours similarly, but not with my name. You're going to use your username and then Tag Game after that, and that's going to be the start of our program. We'll go to File again and Save Now, and you can see the project is saved. We're in good shape because the next time we won't have to start all the way at the beginning. We'll be able to open this program back up and continue working on it. I hope you're impressed because right now, looking at the code that I think you wrote, I'm pretty impressed myself. Screenshot, exit ticket, good ways to make sure that we wrap up the work that you've done here. Have a great day and continue coding.